Hello all and welcome to Battle Shock. I'm Lucius and today we're going to be exploring why the Fyreslayers are objectively the best army in Age of Sigmar. The Fyreslayers are Duardin, aka dwarves, who are descended from Grimnir, the Duardin god of fire and forge. Once imprisoned with his brother Grungni, Sigmar freed them both in the Age of Myth. Grimnir felt he owed Sigmar a great debt and sought to slay Volcatrix, the mother of salamanders, to settle that debt. Bottom line? He did. As Grimnir died, his essence spread throughout the mortal realms and settled into ingots of gold, turning them into Urgold. Fyreslayers covet Urgold above all other things, and consider it to be a holy task to gather the scattered pieces of their god. They act as mercenaries throughout the mortal realms, demanding huge sums of gold in the hopes that some Urgold is scattered within. While their price is high, they never break an oath. Once gathered, Urgold is crafted into runes and driven into the Fyreslayers' flesh. There, the Fyreslayers draw on the power of their dead god to drive their fury and push them to epic deeds. Fyreslayers were one of the first battle tomes published for Age of Sigmar, and it shows. Initially, they were virtually unplayable as they were overcosted and had no access to magic items or command abilities. With the 2017 General's Handbook, the Fyreslayers got a huge boost that made them not only playable, but competitive. Fyreslayers are incredibly resilient, which is a surprise given they're virtually nude. But it's not armor that makes them resilient, it's the runes driven into their flesh. Fyreslayers get an extra ward save against any point of damage. It's one of those saves after the save that doesn't have a universal name anymore. It used to be called a ward save. So yes, they can use this to save against mortal wounds, and no, Ren does not apply to this save. The resiliency of the basic battle line unit, Volkite Berserkers, increases as the unit size gets bigger, so you're going to want to take hordes of these guys. Hearthguard Berserkers, the Fyreslayers' only other melee unit, gain a bonus to their ward save for being near heroes, and it should be noted that you can make them battle line by taking a Runefather as general. Your third unit, the Auric Hearthguard, are a decent ranged unit, but don't get their ward save, so they are super squishy because they only get a pretty weak armor save. So yes, there are only 3 units in this book. 4 if you count the Chosen Axes from Shadespire. You have a smattering of heroes that offer various buffs, but of key use are the Rune Smiters that let you re-roll wounds and allow you to start units off the board to tunnel them underground and pop up later. Given the horde nature of this army, you're going to be rolling a lot of dice, and you'll find a lot of the heroes give you buffs that may let you re-roll those dice. So when everything's working together, you're going to feel like you're succeeding in nearly every roll. Of special note is the Volkite Berserkers, who can reroll all misses if you arm them with 2 axes. Also, every unit, including heroes, has a throwing axe. This ranged attack has poor stats and limited range, but just by weight of dice alone, you'll find it helps you chip through even the toughest units. The Fyreslayers' Allegiance ability gives you 6 different rune powers. You can activate 1 at the start of any turn, but can only use each once per battle. The effects of these apply to your entire army. This allows for a variety of buffs, including increased movement, additional rend, and gives you a really deep toolbox to reach into because you'll find something in there for every situation, from increased movement to adding additional rend. You just got to know when to use it. There's even an enhanced version of each rune that has a chance to go off when you use it. So instead of adding just 1 rend to attacks, you'll add 2 across the whole army. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The one monster in this list is a Magmadroth, which can be ridden by various heroes. It's an amazing model, but they are pretty lackluster on the tabletop, though your mileage may vary. Your heroes are decent fighters, but they're nothing special. They're more there just for the buffs they add to the rest of the army. What this gives you is an army that is incredibly difficult to kill, that lacks any big heavy hitters. You're going to win through attrition and weight of dice, and not through any souped-up hero carving their way through the enemy. The army is incredibly fun to play, especially if you feel like you're always one of those guys who rolls poorly, as the number of re-rolls make the math work in your favor more times than not. Notably, being Duardin, there are no mages in this army unless you ally a wizard in, so you won't be casting any spells. Downsides of this army include that it is very expensive money-wise. The start collecting box really helps, and it is an incredible deal, but you're still going to have to buy a bunch of expensive Volkites. Another downside is the fact there are very limited unit choices, as I mentioned, and that pretty much every miniature in this army looks very similar. They look good, don't get me wrong, and they're really beefy for dwarves. If you put them next to the Kharadron Overlords, they are like dire dwarves. It's pretty awesome. But there's not a lot of variety in poses, and they're kind of difficult to convert. Also, I hope you like painting skin, because there is a ton of it. Lastly, they don't get great battalions. The unit mixes required for most battalions aren't great for the bonuses provided. That said, other than having an increased number of drops, it's not a real big drawback. You're not missing out on a lot here. Resiliency and dice probability manipulation are the Army's greatest strengths, and having a great allegiance ability is just icing on the cake. So grab an axe, sculpt that mohawk, and get out there and find some Urgold. And that, my friends, is why Fyreslayers are objectively the best army in Age of Sigmar. It's science, people. Look it up. If you agree or disagree with me, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.